All right, let's talk budget and what I think is the budget BS, all right, which is they're going to have more revenue than any government has in 19 years, yet they're going to run a deficit. Why are they going to be running a deficit? Because they've baked stuff into the budget, all right? They've hired a football stadium full of public servants. They've used taxpayer money to guarantee pay rises for certain industries. And, of course, there's a whole series of other spending decisions. But, Linda, as a person who's happy to defend the Labor Party faith, $1.2 billion the cost of the tropical cyclone, that's rubbish.
Well, look, I don't know what the cost is, but I think you have to take the government estimates that they're developed by Treasury.
They're always wrong. Well, they're wrong on everything. They're wrong on inflation. They're wrong on unemployment. They're wrong on every time they're wrong. This is just an excuse
by Treasury and
for why we're into deficit.
By some of the nation's best economists. So, you know, we can have a debate about it, but ultimately this is on the best data that the country has, and that's how we develop our economic plans under either government. Here's the thing, though, Paul. There's been 3 surpluses since 2008 in the last 17 years, and all of those have been delivered by a Labor government. It's a very tough economic climate. I've said this time and time again, right across the world, and it's very hard for governments across the world to be delivering surplus budgets. It's been very hard for Jim Chalmers to do 2 already, since the last one was in 2008. But the budget should be and will be focused on cost of living relief. Do people care more about the national debt, or do they care more about being able to afford medicines, food for their family, you know, to be able to see a GP? These are the things that matter to Australians. This is what tax is for, to support Australians and their cost of living relief.
Absolutely, and I want to see my tax go to support charities like Food Bank that are taking care of more than 3 million people. There are 3 million people that are this close to homelessness, but the federal government spends more money on ads for itself than it does for those organisations. Why? You can read it on their websites. You don't have to go fishing too hard. Look for their budget submissions on their websites for what they're asking versus what the government spends its money on. That said, let's talk cold, hard politics here. Last year, it was a many-month conversation about tax cuts, but then that YouGov poll showed more than 70% of people couldn't even name one thing the government had done for them. Cost of living still way up top before we even get to distraction issues or issues the government would prefer to be fighting on, like funding of Medicare. I think this is going to be one of those ones where keep your eye on the ball, not the spin of the ball.
I agree with you, but I think what I also see Linda's point in that I think people care about cost of living, right? And I remember seeing a poll recently which said that Labor has started to win back some of those marginal seats because of all this spending on cost of living relief. Now, this was a budget that they never wanted to be discussing. They never thought it was going to happen. So I think that's important to take into account when we're looking at how they're going to spin this. They're going to have to spin this pretty hard because there's going to be a deficit. But I think a lot of people are so focused on cost of living that if they can just announce policies that will help your wallet right now, people might not care so much about the deficit.